Good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. Today we're going to go over 6.3, which is an introduction to linear inequalities. So some of the symbols we're going to be seeing here are things that you have seen in the past, and we're just going to reuse them a little bit more, and we're going to apply them into algebraic equations. So the first symbol you guys should recognize just means equals. Okay? It's in any equation, and you know that there is an answer, one answer that is correct for that symbol. The next symbol means less than. Okay, so the number that is on this side is the number that is smaller than the number on this side. The little guy eats the big guy. Okay, and the opposite would be, that should be it, than. The opposite is greater than. And this is just the reverse. If this number was 10, this number, the other number has to be smaller, so I could say that that is 2. Okay, for the next symbol, it's a combination of the symbols that we have previously used, and it could be both things. So this symbol is greater than or equal to, as it has combined the equal symbol with a greater than. Okay, so that means our answer could be either equal to or has to be greater than. And that would mean that the next one would mean, or I guess I should give you an example for that. So if this is 3, I could say that a number that is less than 3, because this has to be greater than, is 2. But I also could have said that this answer could have been 3, because 3 is also equal to 3. Okay, so the next one is going to be less than or equal to. Okay, and once again, if I picked a number like 5, 5 has to be less than, so it's smaller than another number. So I could say that another number is 7, because that is actually larger than the 5. However, I could also say that it is 5, because 5 is also less than or equal to 5. The next symbol is one that you guys should recognize already. It simply means does not equal. Okay, so it does not equal. And then I have 2 circles on the board, and these are going to come up in a couple minutes here when it comes to graphing. Anytime we have an equal sign, we are going to use the circle that is filled in. So a fully filled in circle is used for equal, which means it's going to be used with this symbol, or with this symbol, or with this symbol, because all of these have an equal sign in them. Okay? Whereas the open circle, so the open unfilled circle, is representing does not equal. And this one is going to go with the symbols of does not equal, or just less than and greater than. Okay, so these are the symbols that are very important when it comes to solving inequalities, and we're going to put them to use right now. So name 3 values for the variable that are true for each inequation, and then graph them. So if I give you an inequation, which means I'm not just using the equal sign, but I need to use a greater than or less than sign as well. So if I pick something like 4 is greater than x, okay? When it says to name 3 values for the variable, that means I'm trying to come up with 3 separate answers that would be correct for the value of x. So if 4 is greater than x, that means that x has to be smaller than 4. Because there's no equal sign, it can't be 4. So I can pick numbers like 3, 2, and 1. Then if I'm going to go to a graph, because my number is 4, my 4 has to be on the graph. And we all remember that graphs go up when you go to the right, and they go down when you go to the left. Okay, positives more to the right, negatives as you go down. Very important that you guys are all remembering this. Now I told you those circles are going to be used because I do not have an equal sign on this inequation. I'm going to put an open circle over top of the 4 because it does not equal 4. Okay, so it doesn't equal 4. And I need to draw an arrow that shows the possible answers because it could be anything that is smaller than 4. So because 3, 2, and 1 were all possible answers, I'm going to draw an arrow going this way, showing that all the numbers on the left of the 4 could be correct solutions for this problem. If we go and do another question, if I say that 5 is less than or equal to x. Okay, your step 1 is going to be to find 3 values of x that would actually be correct. So if I looked at the 5 is less than or equal to x, so because it could be equal to, I can say that 5 is a potential value. Okay, 4 is actually smaller, not greater, so 4 doesn't work, so I'm going the other way, like 5, 6, 7. I could go all the way up to 100, 1,000, a million, as long as it is a number greater than 5. Then I'm going to go down to my graph and I'm going to graph it. So just like I did previously, I'm going to make sure that the number in question is on my graph, and I'm going to draw a few numbers ahead and below of each of them. Now, this time, because I have an equal sign, instead of using an open circle on the 5, I am going to use a closed circle on the 5. So there's my closed circle. And if my closed circle's here, and my possible answers are 5, 6, 100, that means that I need to go in this direction. Okay? So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. The notes that I have provided for you guys are slightly different. They don't have the same numbers that I am using. So it doesn't hurt if you need extra review to go back and go through those questions and to use it as notes and reference as you guys are working. Write the inequation represented on the following number lines. So the other way that you're going to see it is they're going to give you the graph and you need to say what is being shown in that graph. Okay, so because my circle is on the -6 here, and it is a filled in circle, okay, I know that I'm going to have -6, and I know that I'm going to have an equal with my equation. Now it's somewhat hard for me to see here, but you can see that my arrow is going this way, okay, this direction, going towards the 0, okay, which means that the possible answers are all bigger than 6. So I'm going to say that -6 is less than all of the potential values of x. Because -5 is actually bigger than -6, because it is closer to the 0. It is warmer, okay? So that would be my correct solution. If I looked at the second one that I have here, and I'm going to write it backwards from how I was doing it before. This time I'm going to put an x, the x first. And because I know that the circle is on the 4, I know that 4 is the value that I'm looking at. Okay, it does not, or it is not filled in. It is just an open circle, so it is not equal to. So I'm only using greater than or less than. And if I'm looking at possible answers, 5, 6, and 7 are all bigger than 4. Okay, so because they are larger than the 4, I'm saying that the 4 is going to be less than the x, so x is greater than 4. So it doesn't really matter in which order you guys put your equation, if you have your variable first or your numerical answer first, as long as you are following the steps in the equation that you are doing. So when you're going to be correcting some of your things or going on to things, know that it is okay if you don't have exactly what I have put down. It can just be the reverse, as long as when you have it, the symbol still matches with what you have. So it'll be flipped from where you are if you are still doing it correctly. Okay, and if we did one last example down here with you guys before I kept going, this time I have lines in between my numbers, which means I'm actually going to be working with a decimal. So if I said that my decimal that is being shown is 7.5, okay, it is not equal to, so it's either less than or greater than. And I know the possible answers are 8, 9, 10, 11 because my arrow is going this way this time. Oh no, that's a lot. Yeah, that way. It's going that way. And this one was going this way. I'm sorry, this is really hard to see with the colors. So 7.5, 8, 9, 10, 11, those are all possible answers, which means that 7.5 has to be less than any potential values of x. Okay, the last style you're going to see is going to come in the form of a word problem. Describe each situation within an equation, then represent it on a number line. So the movie is rated PG-13. Okay, PG-13. So I'm going to use an M as my variable to represent the movie. Okay, and I know that my number is 13. So the question is, do you have to be older than 13 or less than 13 for it to be correct? So because it is rated PG-13, that means you have to be at least 13 or older. So 13 is the smallest answer. So the little guy eats the big guy. And you can be 13 and still qualify. So you'd also have to put the or equal to symbol in. Then when you go to graph it, again, you're going to put a few numbers above and below just to make sure that you are showing the full equation. Okay, over the 13 this time, you are going to be drawing in a closed circle. And it is closed because you can be 13, but you also can be any age that is older. Okay, if we did the next one, the speed limit in a school zone is 30 kilometers per hour. Okay, because I'm doing this speed limit, I'm going to use a variable of s, and I know that my value is going to be 30. So if we are thinking about it, if the speed limit is 30, that means that I can only go up to 30. I cannot go faster or else I'm breaking the law, get a ticket. So any number that is smaller would be correct. So 30 is the biggest possible answer, which means the little number is eating the big. That's the biggest potential. But the speed limit is 30. I can also go 30 and not risk getting a ticket. So it's also or equal to. So I'm going to put 30 on my graph. I'm going to add in a few numbers ahead and a few numbers below. Because it can equal the 30 on the 30, I would draw in a closed circle. And I know that I can't go above 30, which means that my graph is going to go in this direction. I hope all of this makes sense to you. If you guys have any further questions or comments, please make sure that you send me an email or a message in classroom. Have a great day.